to sing these songs of freedom is all I ever have. Redemption songs.
When you write that?
All my life.
This is my message to you.
You know what I mean? The big dog, the legend, the worldwide phenomenon, megastar, like lover man, you know, preacher man, you know what I'm saying? Like he is the messenger. He is a father. He is wow. I am very versed in Bob Marley's story. I have watched at least 6 Bob Marley documentaries in my life because I just think he is such a interesting character to be so impactful over so many decades and to really be as impactful today as he was. If not, I feel like he's almost more impactful now because his children have found ways to diversify every inch of him, from speakers to coffee to weed to, you know, the Marley brand worldwide is ginormous, on top of the fact of his music and his story connecting with billions of people. So this film had a high bar to jump over, in my opinion. I was clowning the hell out of this trailer when it came out. If you go back to previous real reviews in December and November, I had nothing nice to say about this. I was not excited to see this. I was like, this is going to crash and burn. Fuck this fucking British guy. He can suck my dick. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's a kid's show. My bad.
I don't think that's why she's offended.
Oh, my bad. Like I wasn't with this. You know what I mean? Marley means a lot to me, and it just seemed like it wasn't going to be right. The trailer wasn't doing it for me. I'm just being honest. I saw an interview with, oh God, let me see if I can pronounce this, Kingsley Ben-Adir. I watched him on The Breakfast Club. He sat down. There were 3 key things that he said.
No. I'm sorry.
Okay.
My bad.
If you feeling some kind of way, I mean, I'm chilling.
Talking about the 3 secrets.
Yeah, right.
Children.
Yeah, if you want to take over, it's all you, baby. Like, I don't want no problems. All right, so so 3 things that really convinced me that this is something I should watch. Number 1, he said he spent 6 months minimum working on the accent. That meant a lot to me because I can barely understand what Bob Marley's saying in interviews. The last thing I needed was him to fluck it all up, you know, just fumbling through, not committing to sounding like the man. That's number 1. Number 2, he admits that I am vastly taller than him. Technically, I shouldn't. And he said, I tried to convince them to find people for almost a year before they almost was like, look, nigga, you have to do this. Second thing. Third thing was him admitting, bro, everybody says Bob Marley doesn't move in predictable patterns, meaning that the way he danced, it's not really a dance. It's almost like if you see him on stage performing, and there are tons of videos on YouTube if you want to see Bob Marley's live performances. If you've ever been to a spiritual church or like a Baptist church, when they are, I don't want to say possessed, but when they're hit with the spirit, there's a very spastic kind of like this kind of unorthodox thing. And Bob will smoke weed, get on stage, and that music and the energy overtakes him. And he goes into almost like a spiritual, ritualistic thing. And Ben spoke very lengthily about, you know, we have to get these elements right because these are the things people know most about him. His private stories are new for us, but the things that we see on stage, the things that we've heard in interviews, if I can't get these right, then we can't do the movie. And him detailing how many times during the shooting, the whole family was there. the friends were there, and they were very, from take to take, are saying this is working, this isn't working, let's shoot this again, he's not going to say this. When I heard that they were doing that level of like detail work into crafting this character, that's when I said, okay, I need to see this movie. Like, he's earned my respect, he's earned me to take the risk, even though I was going to go anyway. But I went with a certain level of confidence. I kind of was like, all right, cool, I'm not stressed out, I'm not going in with a bias, I'm not going in hating out the gate. You know what I'm saying? But I was ready to hate. Don't get it twisted. I was ready to come out in this motherfucker and light this mother up like a Christmas tree. God damn it! If it was bad, believe me, Ben-Adir would have been lit like a motherfucker if he had not done a good job, or did a good job. We don't know. We don't know yet. I haven't said anything. So that is my initial impressions. Mr. Lingo.
Yeah, for me, my initial impression, I was not looking forward to watching it. The number one reason is because I felt like that I wasn't a big enough Marley fan. I only knew the content that has been repeated over different platforms for years, those iconic hooks. I don't know any of the lyrics. I haven't bought an album, so I didn't think I was a big enough fan to really appreciate it. And then also the trailer was giving me Malcolm X vibes, that he was gonna be, it was gonna play out kind of that way. His impact was gonna have him targeted, and that it was just gonna play out the same way. And I didn't want to watch another movie like so. My initial impression was no, thank you.
Dad Panther.
I was excited to listen to it. The standards were low, or at least the bar was low. I didn't think anything special of it. I mean, it wasn't going to be like Flex playing Michael Jackson, but I was expecting, it was going to cover some of the things. Again, like you said earlier, Jay, it's an iconic figure. You're not going to catch everything in this movie. This movie isn't a documentary. It's more for the masses, just like kind of what reggae was. So.
Iris.
I'm actually really excited about the movie. I had high expectations in regards to it, just like I had high expectations on the movie Selena. So when we first saw the trailer and we shared it, I was like, yes, I am so ready to watch this. And then, of course, if disappointment set in afterwards, then,
Quick question. Did you see the Netflix series Selena, the TV series they did about Selena?
Yeah, and it was good, but there were some boring parts to it. I know they were trying to fit in so much details, and it was like, okay, that's nice, get to the point. And I honestly think the girl that they chose, she was as Selena.
What are we? All right, so I'm not a Selena. I didn't know who the hell Selena was, honestly, and I know y'all will get mad, but like when I kind of went into it raw, no condom. So I didn't know what to get to. Like I think I enjoyed the ride because I'm genuinely just watching it to enjoy the story. And all right, well, this somehow she's some mega Spanish celebrity, so I'm just watching the ride. So was there a specific moment that you felt like the TV show should have started on or ended on or focused on or something?
No, not that. Not at all. I just feel like the pacing of everything just needed a little bit more. There were some points that there were conversations that I was like, is that really necessary in the show? Like,
okay,
was that necessary to the story?
Sure.
But
I would love to have a discussion about that one day. I get
let's
your
go back
perspective
about Marley.
Yeah, we'll get back. All right, but thank you so much. Dad Panther, give me them highs and lows, big boy.
Man.
Oh boy.
I didn't know where I was gonna go with that.
Yeah, right. you said you was about to drop a bomb in this motherfucker. Go ahead.
Okay, so the highs was you can see that this was set up where there was a lot of detail from the clothing that was worn. Even when they did the end and they showed you, hey, the real footage, you can see the dancing being mimicked. You can see the characters or the rest of the crew, the whalers, how they had the same garments on. So you saw that level that was there. I thought it was done well. The pacing was good. You know, you kind of knew what was going to happen if you've seen movies or documentaries about them. The low that I would say is, again, it's not their fault. It's just such an iconic person. It's You're not going to catch everything. There's so many ways you could have told this story. You could have passed it over to Ziggy, where it would have been a second movie later about what the Marleys have done with the Marley brand over the years. But the whole of what he's done for that music was enough. But you know, the best way I can say it is like, if you ever been in a Jamaican restaurant, and for me being in Miami, going in there and hearing how they conversate over just food. You can't order certain things on the menu if you don't have someone who speaks that language. You'll get the menu. They'll come in there. I'm not going to be rude or disrespectful or mimic it, but you'll go in a restaurant and how can I help you? And as soon as they realize you're not that, you get a different menu. I've gone with friends and they'll pick something and I'll let them talk and your plate will be fire. So I would be really interesting to hear somebody who's Jamaican tell me what they think.
Word. Iris, you wanted to take a shot in the dark? Is that what you wanted to do?
Take a shot in the dark.
Lay down the law.
Highs and lows. I can't really give you guys any lows. I could barely give you guys any highs. But if I do have to pick a high for myself, I would have to say just seeing this gentleman, Kingsley, just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. God bless that young man. Yes, sir. And I was actually happy to see Lashana Lynch in this one. You know, we've seen her in Marvel and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, there you go, Lashana. I see you, boo. And I love that she got to play the wife. So highs is just, I guess, the actors that they just chose to play the parts in the movies. Yes. From the clips that I did get to see, it looks like from the costumes like Ron was mentioning and things like that, you really felt like, oh, you know what, this is, we're really in this time, you know, like it just felt real, just even from the clips that I got to see. So hopefully this weekend I'll get to see it if my knee is not keeping me handicapped.
All right, Mr. Eddie, it is your turn, sir.
All right. So highs for me, of course, the production. I thought it was done very well. I love the aspect that I went in because of the trailer thinking that it was just all revolved around one show. And I like how the show mainly really they got to it in the beginning. It wasn't about the show, it was about everything after. And that was actually interesting to me. I love learning a lot more about Bob Marley. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan. I didn't know that his father was white. I never really questioned that he, his skin complexion or anything. I just knew that he was an iconic person within the music about love and peace. So seeing how he had to leave Jamaica and be away from his family and still trying to, take his career to the next level, and how fast his popularity grew amongst the white crowd across Europe and everything, things of that nature. I was blown away. I had no idea. So I love that whole aspect. I did like the dedication to the role. As far as who they casted, I was pleased with. I know a lot of times we wonder why they don't just go with no name people that maybe can give you more of, like he was saying, he probably wanted them to find somebody that was more to the role himself. But I actually like the job he did here. What was it? What lows for me? What I have to say is, again, I felt like this film was more so for the masses. After having deep conversations and understanding a little more, I understand that how they wanted to just weave a particular story, and I would have liked to have seen, which is something we need to have a backlot conversation about how biopics now are shying away from the dark truth about certain people. And that's something we can have a discussion about later. But for me, I thought that it I would have liked to have seen some of the aspects I got after having a discussion with the Dad Panther after the fact. I also felt like the story itself, it even though it was about the music afterwards, and then it came back to the concert that he ended up doing again to bring peace together. Um, I didn't really get. I didn't feel moved or anything. Like, I know the message they were trying to give, and I understand that I didn't really feel moved from it. Not that a biopic is supposed to move me, but I was just hoping, like when I watched Iron Claw, I was gonna leave feeling some type of way, and then I was just like, okay, we got that story, and and moved on. So that's the only low I really have.
Okay. What I would like to say is, hold on, let's just say. All right. Yeah. The biggest thing that how do I approach this? There was something I forgave the film for once again when I was watching Ben. I'm not going to say the rest of his name, but when I was watching him on Breakfast Club, he made a statement that this film was created and produced by the Marley family, and the sons wanted to make a love letter to their father. This film is a love letter to the father. This is not about being a biopic. This is not about we need to tell his ugly truth, the truth. It's as children, we loved our father and we want to tell our father's story the way we want to tell us. We want to highlight the things that we love about our father. When I understood that, and I felt like the interviews that I watched pertaining to this film before I saw the film helped put into perspective what I was going to see when I saw it. So when the story picks up in a certain place and ends in a certain place, I'm cool with it. For them to omit certain elements, I'm cool with it. And the more I really thought about it in watching the film and after the film, it's like, yo, there's more than one place to find, if you want all of the cold hard facts about Bob Marley, there are literally tons of documentaries, dozens. Some of them are like multi-part that go through his entire life from childhood to being a young man to being an adult. Yes, he had like 6 baby mamas and 15 children, and they even say he probably had more than that. Yes, he's, he was definitely a little delusional and definitely super hyper focused. Yes, he's the reason why he died, because he refused to go to doctors and really wanted to be treated. So when they found out that he had cancer, it actually, what they didn't talk about is by the time he had went to the doctors, the cancer had already spread to a crazy point. And he did at that point, they pushed him to try to get treatment, and none of the treatments worked. But once again, I'm writing a love letter to my dad. We are multimillionaires based off of the work that he's put into the world, and I can paint his picture any way I want, and that's my father. I love that, because I'm sick and tired of every black superstar I see that I've grown up loving. Y'all just want to bring every nasty, dirty thing out about that person. And instead of us saying, hey, in spite of this, we still love this person, we destroy that person, we rip that person down, whether it's Michael Jackson, whether it's Prince. I mean, like, yo, go on YouTube and start and Google Prince Dark Secrets and see if you don't come up with 30,000 pages of crazy stuff that they talk about people. Bro, we could talk about how everybody got flaws all day. But the thing I love that I came out of this theater with, and that I love listening in the theater, were real Jamaican people that I could barely understand what they're saying, cheering and singing, and like they were just having a time. I may be one of those Negroes that reads too far into stuff and we analyze the shit out of stuff, but there are a huge mass of people that just come out and they just love to enjoy a good story. This movie is a good story. It has highs, it has lows. Like the relationship between him and his wife is so crazy. To see the distant relationship between, singer and manager, that's crazy. Like there are so many, even the label owner, the white dude, and him, there are so many dynamics of things that are connecting Bob. You see, the film comes into the time period when Bob is become a legendary artist in Jamaica, but he hadn't breaking worldwide. But he's already got an infrastructure. There's a security staff and there's a band, and like he's moving like a goddamn president, you know, to a certain extent. I was amazed seeing stuff like that. I'm not used to seeing that when we're talking about our black celebrities and our black creatives. I loved seeing that before he broke worldwide. He already had the big house on the hill, and he had his gunmen at the door opening up the gate for the truck, and the kids are playing. Like, these are the realities of this time period. Dudes have automatic weapons, and the kids are playing soccer 15 feet away. Like, yeah, they're making music in the house, and then the guy comes in and shoots out. These are realities that we dealt with. Him not wanting to have anything to do with politics, but his life intersecting with politics at every turn. Him being a strong person and taking his team and having them get up every day and go run. I feel like that wasn't played up enough. Like, this dude ran his company and his team like a military group, man. Like, he was militant as a motherfucker. And for even the gangsters are coming to him, the politicians are coming, everybody's coming and bowing down, not necessarily bowing down like he's a god, but there's a reverence wherever he went. And notice how he never was violent, he was never overly aggressive, he was always showing love. Like, these are the subtle elements that I saw through and through the film. I was like, bro, this is great. Like, I love seeing this. You don't have any lows. I mean, and I could, Eddie is completely right about, you know, how he feels, and Dad Panther's right, and obviously Iris, she knows what she like. But you know what I mean? Like, I walked away with this. I walked out of the theater like, the first thing I said is, if I have children and I become popular and I pass away, I pray that my children love me enough to want to tell my story and do it in such a way that I could be portrayed in that manner. Like, that is everything. So with that being said, I'm gonna let that go. Is there anything else y'all want to say before we get to the rating part?
I would have loved then if they would have not have labeled it a biopic and just said, Bob Marley, One Love, and just put it out there, a love story from his children or whatever, or a Bob Marley story, But to label it a biopic and then cut out a lot of details in that time frame, I feel like that's a disheartening.
Yeah. Now
component.
what I would like to say is that they didn't. It's not like they lied at any point. All of the details in the film are accurate. I mean, every piece of the film is accurate. So why can't we call it a biopic? It's not like they lied at any point or made shit up. I mean, they made and the bio that a biopic can have multiple components to it. This could be Bob Marley One Love, and then the next one could be No More Love, and the other, but the third biopic is The Love Returns. Like, I mean,
okay, all right. So I'll put
Love
it this way.
Returns.
All right, go ahead.
When previously you'll say executives clean stuff up and they're trying to hit a certain audience.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this with Griselda and the realization that could be there. And we're like, we can't do that because she's a woman and XYZ. But there's countless other movies, not just in drug cartel stuff, where the man kills a bunch of people. He's rated R and he's loved. But if a woman does it, hey, she might not want this role. We might not want to watch it. This movie took moments that were factual and almost like based on a true story. They changed parts of it to sell to a demographic. That's why I'm curious of what someone who's Jamaican would say about this growing up in Jamaica, growing up off that, watching how that country has been riddled with politics and people taking their land and gentrification and all this stuff that's happened that Bob was fighting for, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Like, there's a part where Rita says, you remember you're the cornerstone, and she starts singing the words to the song called Cornerstone. That actually happens when he goes back to the Marley family, which is his white dad who was on the house, the horse, his name was called Captain. And it's funny because Bob is called Skipper. But he went and he said, hey, look, I'm a big celebrity. And his white family didn't want anything to do with him. So funny enough, he makes the Marley name bigger than that part of his family. And I'm not saying add that in because the movie wasn't that, but if you're going to mention and show the dad talking to the mom, and I don't want that to come off as that's not his story, then why did you get a woman to play his mom at the time who was significantly older? Bob's dad had sex with his mom when she was like 16. He was 68. So you won't show that because it won't portray right. It's not going to look good. The song Cornerstone was Bob doing a respectful diss letter to his dad and that family, saying the builder didn't want me. I will be the cornerstone and build something new. And that was before he got big. The part of the movie where he's almost like Jackson 5, and it's like they're showing the music that didn't work. And he's like, well, we can play something different. I got what they were doing. They were taking that Bob had an album, like a singing song, but it was rebellious. It didn't work. And he switched to what they did in Jamaica, where they would do covers of doo-wop songs and they would put their spin on it. Right. And I'm like, that you already did that. It's right there. Why didn't you show it?
They did show
it. No, like I said, I felt if you're the type to go on a cruise and come back with braids, this movie's for you. Like, it's not that anyone else won't enjoy it, but if you're sitting there saying I'm doing it for the culture, and you want to use certain phrases, and I got this for my backpack, and I got a beanie when I went to Universal Studios, and I went to the Marley Club. If that's who this was made for, it wasn't made to show the Jamaican people and how he's so connected. Like even the part where the two gangsters come to London, that shit never happened that way. The thing with Bob, he was cool. It would be now the Bloods and the Crips type of thing. He was cool with both, fucking with both. And the country called Bob and said, we need you to come back and fix it. They didn't show that. So there was moments to show how he brought people together. And I felt like they kept pawning that off on something else because they didn't want it to be a part of that story.
Everything you said, there might have been some small. All right, so the girl wasn't 16, she was older. Okay, so not showing that doesn't. This, like, I get what you're saying to a certain extent, but not showing her to be 16 doesn't look bad on Bob. It would look bad on the dad. Nobody's trying to save the dad. Nobody give a fuck about this white dad.
But you don't want it to be that kind of movie, is what I'm saying. You want to enjoy the music.
What kind of movie would that be? Nobody would. That wouldn't make that much of a difference. I feel like they would probably just, let's shoot it, let's get it done. I feel like you're weighing too much into that nuance. Now, they did have the scene where the two gangsters go to London. Now, the difference is, yes, Bob called them and brought them out after the country called him. Yes, all right, small nuance. But once again, does that really change too much? I feel like at the end of the day, we're trying to look, you got a budget. You're trying to shoot a bunch of stuff. It wasn't a big budget, bro. And to shoot so much content in different countries, that's eats up mad fucking bread. So, like, I get what you're saying, but I don't really feel like it was that crazy different. And you're saying he's now not playing up his impact. The whole film talks about his impact. The whole film is about how they kept saying he's the only person that could do this. He's the only person that could bring the people together. He's the only person that can do a concert this size. You know what I mean? Even
what's more impactful than two gangsters coming across to say, come do the concert versus the PM, Prime Minister of the country, saying, come over?
I get what you're saying. That's cool. But at the end of the day, if I'm a Marley son and I want to talk about the love for my father and how I admire him, I don't want nobody to be more important than my father in that film. Look at it from a son's perspective. The son is telling the story. Listen to me, Dad Panther. The son, your son or your daughter is telling a story about you. Do you think your son or your daughter is going to give a fuck about JS1 or whatever, if we go on to be famous? Guess who they're going to focus on? Dad Panther. JS1 don't give a fuck. Eddie ain't gonna be shit. It's gonna be, some niggas my dad worked with. Yeah, they fooled around, and guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna fuck up certain details because they don't care. Because at that end of the day, it's about their parent, and their parent being whomever their parent is. Nigga, at the end of the film, they put him on a horse with Selassie. Bob Marley gets on a horse with the god of their religion. Nigga, do you not see where they're going with this? It's a love story. That's all it is. And I ain't talking about a love story between Bob Marley and his wife. I'm saying it's a love story about the children celebrating their idol. So that's so once again, it's like, I get what you are not wrong, Dad Panther. They fucked some details up and that's great. But just put the lens of the kids are telling a story about their dad. And that, once I did it, I just enjoyed it because I got to see how the children view their idol, their everything. The person that provides their every need, he's been dead for 30 years. They're still eating because of his accomplishments. So yeah, man, like that. I'm walked into the theater, had a great time, and walked out. And the only thing I'm saying is, Dad Panther, don't get your blood pressure up, man. Just let it go. And then look, you got an idea for your movie, and I'm right behind you, baby. You need me to hold your bag and your umbrella. I got no problem with that, man. I'll be right there. And you can say Bob Marley, the true fucking story. And then you can have all of the gangster shit you want, bitches and all that. Cocaine and weed. We got it. Notice how they didn't even, weed wasn't even a real front component. He was smoking, but they never really focused on it that much, which is crazy because that's all you ever seen Bob Marley do was smoke pounds of weed a day. Even that was a lie. But you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? All right. Let's review.
And he died almost 43 years ago. In May, it'll be 43.
And he rose again 3 days after that. Just remember that. All right. Is this film a classic? A good watch? A catch on streaming? Not doing it for me. Oh, hell no. Or if you ever show me this again, I will. I'm scared because I don't know how the fuck Dad Panther is going to rate this. This is crazy. I'm literally nervous right now. Like, I don't know if he's going to throw it under the bus or is he going to give it high praise. I don't know. So let's start with Dad Panther. Let's rip the bandage off early. Sir, how do you?
I mean, I don't know what to rip off a Band-Aid. It's not like that. If you listen to what I was saying before, it goes down the avenue of I enjoyed this movie. My expectation was low. I didn't look at it the same as I Shot the Sheriff remastered on Netflix, and there's a Marley documentary and some books. I'm not putting in that same realm.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the music. I understood what they were trying to convey to the audience. And that's the audience I was referring to. As far as this movie as a whole, I would rate this movie as a classic. Again, you don't have anything from artists who are sharing the same pigmentation as us, and to tell a story that is not driven with sex or violence or drugs, you don't see that often. Some of the classic movies we grew up with, whether it's The Temptation, The Five Heartbeats, there's always that tragedy that follows constantly in the story. And in this, it was educational because people didn't know that his dad was white. People didn't know that he died of cancer or his love of soccer. And there was like some genuine stuff in it. I just feel like maybe people who want that Bob that they know to be put up higher than kind of watered down. And that's all I got for that.
Let me ask you this question. How did you feel about Ben? Like, what do you feel about his performance? Do you really feel like it was a strong performance?
I like the performance. I like the actor and what they played. I mean, I talked to Eddie about like sometimes someone's hot and that's who gets that role. And it will go with the story you said with the Breakfast Club, where it was like, hey, look, we didn't go with one of Bob's kids. That was one of the things. Like, he has a son that looks almost, or not a son, a nephew that almost looks like identical to him. And people wanted him. People wanted more diversity as far as people who are Jamaican. Like, if you go on Jamaican TikTok, there are people saying they're not happy about it. And those types of people, give or take, they might not drive the box office. But that's why I made the comment of again, this is a different market who's going to watch this, and that's the Bob they know. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
So outside of their opinion, did you feel like he did a great job or not with like the accent and the way his movements were? Like,
I thought the movements were great. Like, I really got what he was doing. Like, if you didn't know Bob and you're watching him do the dance, like you said, caught in the spirit, that was there. I just felt like there's impactful moments that they could have added in there for whatever reason. But I thought the actor did a great job. I thought Rita did a great job. So, like I said, it's a classic. I don't know how you got, off the beaten path over here, but yeah,
that's my job, baby. Take the path less chosen, less chosen. All right, Eddie. All right, stop clicking over on your
less travel.
Yeah, the road less traveled.
Yeah, man.
All right, Eddie. What do you know, man? Is this a classic? Is it a good watch? Catch me screaming, not doing it for me. Is it?
Oh hell
no! Or what the last one is?
Yeah, so for me, I'm gonna have to give it a good watch. Like I said, it was a lot of stuff that I learned. It's a lot of stuff that that I didn't know, and then I also especially enjoyed more of seeing some of the creative process to the music, because like I said, I'm not a big Bob Marley fan. I appreciate his music. I love what I've heard, but I don't consider myself a fan only because I only know whatever's out there on other platforms, social media, things of that nature. I've never actually taken a deep dive in. So I appreciated all that. It was a good watch. And I actually think that the acting was pretty good. Funny, growing up in Miami, I understood more of everyone else around him than I understood him. And I don't know if it's because I don't know if he was trying too hard with the accent, or if he just took it to a level that I've never experienced. But I'm pretty well versed with patois, growing up in Miami, and I was understanding a lot more of the people around him more than I was understanding him. So I don't take that how you will.
No, I'm definitely feel you on that. There were some moments where I was like, "Oh, what?" You said something, but what? So, I am going to have to agree with my guy Dad Panther that this is a classic. The moment that I think the film ended, I was like, I wanted to see it again. I want to purchase this. I need to own it the same way I own American Fiction the moment that I realized that it was out. Congratulations to the Marley family for continuing to control your narrative, control your family's narrative. I think that is so important. Because if we can repaint all of these white celebrities, all of the fuck shit they do, and all these fucking white politicians and people in history, and we can relitigate and rewrite their history, why can't we rewrite ours? Like, people don't need to know about my 16 baby mamas, bro. Just focus on the music. You know what I mean? That's all that's important, baby. You know what I mean? And I hope that all my indiscretions are washed away by my children, and the best parts of me are lifted up into the world, because ain't none of us perfect. So with that being said, is there anything else? Iris, did you want to do a predictive rating?
I'll just agree with you both. It's a classic, basically, because of Kingsley Ben-Adir. Yeah.
Oh my God! Here we go with the. All right, I got you.